You talk about an ROI. This is a new cost that retailers are bringing in. They're paying you usually monthly, and they want to know, well, what is it really costing me? What's the hidden cost? And so our software, fortunately or unfortunately, brings out the hidden costs, but that's powerful. Especially at scale, it's very, very critical.
I think there's something there that you said is really interesting, and that has been my experience working with customers, is that often we will ask them like, how much are you losing? And they don't know. Like, so you would expect that a large scale customer will be able to say like, oh, Nicholas, 6%, or like, oh, Nicholas, depends on the product line, but like they don't know. Because overall, the only thing that they get at the end is a discrepancy between their accounting and the actual state of goods, right? So when you're pushed into that situation, how do we improve it? How do the famous sentence goes, right? Like that which cannot be measured cannot be improved. So how do you go from a situation where...
That's another line you stole from me, by the way.
Yes, he steals
it's literally in my first slide.
Yeah, he literally stole from me. I know Ricardo for quite a long time. Like, I'll give it to you this one. This one, so I stole from Ricardo then. How do you go from a situation where right now you only know that you have a situation, you have a problem, but you don't know how, who, when, and where. So it becomes much more of an investigation into possible problems before you're even 100% certain of the ROI. That can be pretty scary for traditional companies. So that means that putting the ROI front and center and understanding the assumptions that you're making and at what level of breakthrough you need to have to be able to enable a large scale deal can only come if you're working with somebody that has done this before and understands the path and know what the hidden costs will be, right? Like one of the things that I do like about C2RO is the breadth of their basically solution portfolio, so that you can kind of combine multiple things, but in the end of the day, the customer will use that which actually delivers value for them. And one of our partners, he says it best, like if you were only concerned about stopping loss in loss prevention, it's a simple deal. You should just put security, like 20 security guards in the store, and you should stop everybody that checks out, That would bring it to very, very low. But then the next month you have no customers, right? Like if it felt like a police state inside of a supermarket, people wouldn't buy it. So it is.
People tried that.
People tried that, right? So
basically,
it's a complicated factor. You have to understand how customers buy. You have to understand how my team works inside of that supermarket as well. Because I know employee analytics, understanding how people are moving and providing information is also very crucial.
Yeah, I think you can never, just from a data privacy perspective, you can never isolate like specific behavior of employees. Everything is aggregated. But you definitely can understand, well, this is behind the counter, this is in front of a counter, right? Yeah. And so the physical locality of certain behavior and analytics can be, it can be inferred, right? But you're right that the employee piece of it, unfortunately, when it comes to shrinkage, you don't know necessarily where it's coming from, and it also matters, I think, which segment you're in. Just to go back to something you said before about the bottom line, they look at it at the end of the year. A lot of them have just accepted that that's the number.
Yeah.
Right, and
you just write it off.
They've just accepted it. Yeah, I think what's happened is they said, okay, well, we're going to change something. We're going to change the way people pay for the products, and then they saw the number get worse. Right, and I think that is the reason that it's a focus now, is because it didn't just stay, at least from what I understand. Okay, it didn't just stay what it was.
Yeah.
It ticked up, and now when you're like, okay, well, wait a second, now it went up. So there's a kind of like a pointer that says, well, it's in this general area, but you don't know if people are like bypassing the system or if they're just straight out, walking out with stuff. And so, it forces you to try to understand it. And the good news is that we can bring solutions that are focused around that technology.